Welcome to the Witchy Work Wishes podcast, a place to find your weekly inspiration for bringing your personal witchcraft practice into your business, work, and office. Welcome to Witchy Work Wishes and to another enchanting episode of this podcast. I'm your host, Charlene, and I am here to help you harness the power of the universe as we weave spirituality and business into our daily lives. Whether you are a seasoned practitioner or just starting your spiritual journey, there's always something new to discover in the magical realm. And isn't that one of the best parts with our practices? There's always something new or something to dive deeper into. Well, today we are talking about signs. And I mentioned this a little bit, talking about signs last week, about me trying harder, doing better, at interpreting my dreams and seeing the signs that are given to me. But you know what? That is hard to do without a nice little toolbox of exercises that I can work on or, pull from to get better. This is a muscle of sorts that needs to be trained, needs to be educated and grown so that I can be ready. We can be ready to interact with the messages that we get from our dreams, from traveling the realms, or, simple messages that are given to us in our day in and day out lives. So that is my focus today, my friends. I want to learn myself, and I also want to empower you. So we all have the tools. But first, I'd like to pull some things that I was able to enjoy in my own personal practice this past weekend. And like you, I had the wonderful moment of Mabon on Sunday. And it was not just a moment on Sunday. I felt it all weekend long, and I'm still feeling it today. I did not enter Sunday as balanced as I had hoped. It was a heavy work weekend for me, but I did my best to work on the equalness of Mabon and the harmonious balance that it brings. So I did bake an apple pie. I did create my altar like I talked about in last week's episode, and I did, at the end of the day on Sunday, light 2 candles that represented both sides for me, like the light and the dark, the sun and the moon, the feminine and the masculine, that equal stance, right? Both sides of everything is needed for us to be complete. And it was really important for me this year to work with that balanced and equal energy. Now, I also went back to my Oracle deck, and gosh, it's been a while. It's been a hot minute. I realized how long it has really been once I got my hands back on her. I felt the energy of the cards, and gosh, I was like, what? I don't know. It's just been out of my step right now. So I did end up doing a card pull, and just to get some direction on working with the balanced energy of Mabon and the new energy and direction of Witchy Work Wishes, with its growth and expansion. And oh my gosh, I pulled a new card. Yay! Finally. So I pulled the Ant Spirit, which says, it is time to collaborate. Let's see, the card reads, or the description reads, when Ant Spirit comes to visit, it is time to celebrate the benefits of working in a partnership with others as part of a community or tribe. Spirit reminds you that to build your dream, you need to work with others, accept help, and trust in your most important partnership, the one you have with Spirit. Your intentions will come to fruition if you remain awake and focused on co-creating your reality with others and with Spirit. Remember that the world around you can easily seduce you if you don't have some sort of practice or discipline like meditation to keep you on track as you build the life you desire. Connecting with others and having accountability partners can be very helpful, as it's unlikely that everyone will fall asleep at the same time. Spirit says that you are now at an auspicious time to ask for help and receive it. When you need help assembling a team, finding a new tribe, or requesting assistance from others who are there for you. Everything is working to support you right now. I love it. I've never drawn the Ant Spirit before, so just wow, right? What an amazing card. What an amazing sign and message about moving forward with Witchy Work Wishes and the balanced energy of Mabon. So I am wanting to take this energy to the next level. I'm ready to do more and give more to you. And I am filled, like bubbling over with excitement about the future of things to come. And you guys know I just launched the Witchy Work Wishes Patreon account. If you've not gone over to that account to peek around, I will let you know that there are 3 levels to choose from. You've got the Alchemist Apprentice, the Mystic Maven, and the Enchanted Entrepreneur. So be sure to check them out. I'm sure there's a level that is just going to be right for you. And I'm super excited to get this launched for Witchy Work Wishes. And quick shout out for the 100th episode anniversary giveaway that is happening right now. This contest is certainly about the fun prizes and celebrating, but it's also about building our community. Sharing your favorite moments helps more people discover the podcast, and I personally love seeing how the show resonates with you. So the contest ends next week on October 3rd. I'm not sure when you guys are going to be actually listening to this podcast, but if you're not doing it currently, this is for 2024. So October 3rd, 2024, the contest will end. If you can get your name into the Worky Cauldron before then, now's the time. 4 ways to have your name put in the cauldron. You can share on social media, right? Grab your favorite episode and share it. You can also leave a review on one of your favorite episodes. You can tag your friends, grab 3 of them and tag them in the comment section, and you can engage with the post, right? Let's talk about and chat about one of the episodes. So one of those 4 ways, all of those 4 ways will get your name in. So the promotional channels for this giveaway, again, are going to be Instagram and Facebook, and then any platform that you listen to this podcast on. So most all of them have a way to comment or leave reviews and engage in the posts. So it did start on September 11th, and it only has 1 more week to go. You do need to be 21 in order to participate in this giveaway. And you know what? This celebration is not just about the past 2 years. It really is about the next 2 years and where we can go together being a part of this family. A community like Witchy Work Wishes is like stepping into that vibrant circle of energy, of wisdom and magic. It's a place where our intuition is celebrated, our spiritual journey is supported, and where we are constantly surrounded by like-minded souls. And here we can grow together. All right, today I am talking about signs and messages, and it's another episode that we can hold in our toolbox to grow our practices. Do you know what a sign is? How do you know if a message is being sent your way? You know what? Let's find out together. Today we are diving into a topic that has resonated with all of us, I think, at one time or another. And it's about interpreting signs. The universe is always speaking to us, but how do we know what it's saying? Are those coincidences really a message? How can we trust what we are seeing and feeling? Let's explore it today together and walk through some of the main points that I have pulled on the subject. I first wanted to do a couple quick stories just to kind of set the tone. And the first one is about Joan of Arc. This is a pretty famous one that has been handed down through the years. And her specific story is about receiving a sign from spirits, or multiple signs. Joan of Arc, a historical and religious figure from the 15th century of France, basically began receiving visions or, hearing messages when she was around 13 years old. She said they were direct messages and voices from saints such as Saint Michael, Saint Catherine, and Saint Margaret. Now, these voices told her that she had been chosen by God to lead the French army against the English during the 100 Years' War. Now, Joan claimed that these spiritual messages were clear and direct, guiding her to take up arms and fulfill her destiny as a military leader. Now, despite her young age and lack of formal training, she actually managed to inspire French troops and ended up playing a crucial role in several key victories. She consistently attributed her actions to the divine guidance that she received from these voices, from the saints, viewing them as signs from God. Her story of receiving signs from the spiritual world has been retold for centuries and really has cemented her place as a mystic and a martyr. Now, she was ultimately captured and put on trial for heresy and witchcraft. Joan of Arc was later canonized as a saint by the Catholic Church in 1920, though. Okay, so Joan of Arc. She was not officially executed for being a witch, but her trial did involve accusations of witchcraft. The charges centered around heresy, which included wearing men's clothing, which back then was seen as violating divine law, but as well as claims as her visions and voices were not from God. The church said they were from demons. So Joan was put on trial by an English-backed church court in Rouen after being captured by Burgundian forces who were allies of the English during the 100 Years' War. Although she was accused of many things, including sorcery and witchcraft, the court focused on religious crimes, particularly heresy. So her claim that she communicated directly with the saints and received, divine guidance was considered dangerous by the church authorities, who back then viewed it as an act of disobedience to the church hierarchy. These specific accusations included heretical behavior, claiming to have a direct line to God without the meditation of the church, was cross-dressing. Again, that's wearing men's clothing, which back then was seen as a violation of biblical gender norms and evidence of, her defiance against the church teachings. And then witchcraft. While, again, it was not the main charge, suspicions around her spiritual experiences being diabolical were used to undermine her legitimacy. So although the witchcraft accusation was present, it definitely was not the primary reason for her execution. Ultimately, Joan of Arc was condemned for being a relapsed heretic after briefly recanting, but then, returning to her practices, including that men's clothing, which could not be done back then. So in 1456, a retrial initiated by the church cleared her of all charges, declaring her a martyr. This retrial affirmed that her visions were likely divine and not demonic, reversing the earlier judgment. And later she was canonized as a saint in 1920. The story of Joan of Arc is exaggerated when talking about signs and signals, about messages and, those calls to action. What if the message is smaller? What if it's lighter? What if it's not as easily recognizable as something that, Joan of Arc went through? I pulled a couple famous, I don't know if we want to call them children's stories, but they're two from Aesop's Fables. The first one is called The Lion and the Mouse. And in this classic tale, a mighty lion is resting in the forest when a small mouse accidentally runs across him, and it wakes the lion up from his nap. The lion grabs the mouse, ready to devour him. And the mouse pleads for his life, promising that one day he might be able to help the lion. Amused, right? Amused by the idea that such a tiny creature could ever be of help, and the lion decides to let the mouse go, sparing his life. Later, the lion is caught in a hunter's net and struggles to free himself. Hearing the lion's roars, the mouse comes to the rescue. With courage and determination, the little mouse gnaws away through the ropes of the net, ultimately setting the lion free. The lion realizes that even the smallest creatures can be brave and helpful, and he is grateful for the mouse's bravery. The moral on that one teaches us about courage and kindness and humility. The mouse demonstrates great bravery by approaching the lion, both when pleading for his life and when freeing the lion from the net. It's about kindness, right? The lion's decision to show mercy to the mouse, despite his initial dominance. It leads to an unexpected act of help in return. It's about humility. The story also shows that no act of kindness, no courage is too small. And even those who, might seem weak or insignificant can make a big difference. So this fable highlights the importance of courage and mutual respect, right? Even in the most unequal situations, making a really a beloved story to hand down to our youth. But it is taking an incident, right, a fictional one in this example, and turning it into a lesson. So Aesop has another famous one called The Tortoise and the Hare, which I'm sure you are very familiar with. But it's another classic tale about persistence and humility this time. So the story is about a rabbit who boasts about how fast he can run, and he mocks the tortoise for being so slow. Tired of the rabbit's arrogance, the tortoise challenges him to a race. Amused, the rabbit agrees, confident that his speed will easily win him the race. As the race begins, the rabbit zooms far ahead of the tortoise. Seeing how far behind the tortoise is, he decides to take a nap, thinking there's no way he could lose. Meanwhile, the tortoise keeps moving, slowly and steadily, never stopping. While the rabbit sleeps, the tortoise continues on, even passing the rabbit. By the time when the rabbit wakes up and rushes to the finish line, it's too late, and the tortoise has already won. Well, this is a cute little story that's been handed down to our kids as well, and told to us over time, but the lesson of this one is really saying slow and steady wins the race, right? It teaches us that perseverance, consistency, and humility often lead to success, while overconfidence and carelessness can cause failure. The tortoise's steady progress and determination, despite being the slower creature, ultimately led him to victory over the fast but arrogant rabbit. So this is a pretty common story, right? And it's retold in many cultures, emphasizing the value of hard work and patience and humility. And while the big story of Joan of Arc is detailed with actual history, the fables of the lion and the mouse and the tortoise and the hare or the rabbit, they're quick lessons meant to be handed down and told to generations. So remember the story of the tomcat at my door last week? I walked away from that experience knowing that protection comes in many ways, in many shapes and sizes. So what signs are you getting? What messages are being sent your way? And are you able to slow down and recognize them? All right, signs. What are signs? Signs are going to be messages from the universe, from our spirit guides and your own intuition. They show up in ways that can be subtle or overt, and they often appear when you need guidance the most. A flickering candle, a bird crossing your path, even a recurring number. These are all ways the universe is trying to get your attention. Remember, signs are going to be highly personal, right? What might be a symbol of good fortune for one person could mean a warning to another person. It's about the connection and the relationship that you've built with your own intuition and your own spirit guides. So here's a quick tip. If you want to start interpreting signs with confidence, I would probably create a symbol dictionary for yourself. This is going to be your own personal reference guide. So keep a journal of things that catch your eye and then make note of how they made you feel. What thoughts came to mind and what happened afterwards. Over time, you're going to start seeing some patterns. All right, common signs and their meanings. Let's talk about a few common signs that you might experience in your daily life. I have what I think are probably going to be our top 3, which are going to be signs from animals, numbers, and our dreams. So animals first. Gosh, you guys, this has to be top one for me. They are powerful messengers. For instance, seeing a crow might symbolize transformation or change, while a butterfly is often a sign of growth and new beginnings. Now, if an animal crosses your path repeatedly, it's time to look into what it could mean for you. So if you keep encountering the same animal repeatedly, whether it's in person, it could be in your dreams, or even in media, right? Social media. This is often a sign. Each animal carries its own symbolic meaning. I'm not going to go through all of them, but crows, right? Seeing a crow multiple times might symbolize transformation, death, or maybe a deep spiritual change. Butterfly. Repeatedly often seeing a butterfly could signify personal growth, healing, or maybe the start of a new chapter. Now, when you notice a specific animal appearing frequently, I promise it's worth investigating the symbolism behind it, and how it might connect to your current life situation. And with animals, I would look for something that's unusual or possibly like, out of place behavior. Now, animals acting strangely or behaving in ways they typically wouldn't could also be a sign. Remember the incident I mentioned last week about the dragonfly? There is no rhyme or reason for that dragonfly to have come into a corporate building the minute we were talking about dragons. It was in the office, it was in a business. It wasn't like outside in nature and a dragonfly just flew up. It was so out of place. So if a wild animal approaches you or, comes close and doesn't have the typical behavior with it, it might be trying to deliver a message to you or guide you in some form or fashion. Like a bird flying into your home or tapping at your window, or an owl hooting right near you at night. That could indicate that you're being guided by spiritual forces, or that important messages are coming your way. Pay attention. In these instances, pay attention to your emotions and thoughts at the moment of the encounter. Your intuitive feelings will often reveal the deeper meaning behind the animal's behavior. And then, our animals can come into our meditation sessions, into our dreams, and our spiritual work. And this is often going to be a sign, I think, from the spirit realm, right? Dreaming about animals or meeting animal guides during rituals, during our spell work, or even visualization exercises often suggests that the animal is an ally or is one of our spirit guides. For example, dreaming of a wolf could indicate a need for strength, instinct, or loyalty in your life. Meditating and seeing a deer might signify gentleness and grace and the importance of trusting your path. Now, spirit animals also can be called totems or animal guides. They can guide you in your magical practices, offering wisdom and energy when you need it most. All right, the second area is probably going to be numbers. Do you ever notice like repeating numbers, right? Something just keeps recurring, like 1111 or 222, right? These are known, or they're called angel numbers. They're believed to be messages from your spirit guides or the universe. 1111 is often seen as a sign that you're in alignment with your higher purpose, while 222, might be nudging you to stay balanced and trust the process. Now, as a witch, numbers are often powerful tools for receiving messages and guidance from the universe, right? From our spirit guides and our own intuition. So here are a couple ways that numbers might be giving you a sign. Again, those angel numbers, right? One of the most common ways I think that numbers present themselves as signs is going to be through repeating sequences. These numbers are going to carry specific meanings and appear when the universe is trying to guide us. Again, that 111, sign of new beginnings, manifestation, alignment with your higher purpose. Seeing the ones repeated are often going to encourage us to focus on our desires and our positive thoughts. 222, that's our balance, partnership, and trust message. It's going to remind us to remain patient and trust the timing of the universe. 333, this can be a divine protection and support message from spirit guides. It's a reminder that you are not alone. Your guides are working alongside you. Either way, when you see repeating numbers frequently, whatever sequence it is, it's a little nudge. It's a little nudge from the universe to pay attention to what's happening in your life at that moment, and then reflect on the specific energy that number represents. So numbers in dreams and meditations is another way they're going to pop up. They can appear in our dreams or during our meditation sessions, often carrying the symbolic meanings that relate to our current spiritual path or situation. So if a number comes up repeatedly in these states, it's important to pay attention again. For instance, let's say dreaming of the number 7 could indicate a period of spiritual growth, maybe, right? Inner wisdom, a deepening connection with your psychic abilities. Or seeing the number 9 in a vision might suggest the completion of a cycle or the need to let go of something that no longer serves you. In these cases, the number represents, a spiritual lesson or, a guidepost, something that's going to help us navigate in our journey. Now, the third area with numbers can be numerological patterns that are in our lives. This may be, noticing the number 5 repeating during a time of change and transformation in your life, signaling that a major shift is on the horizon. The number 4 might show up when you need to focus on building a stable foundation in your work, in your home, in your spiritual practice. But numerology, every number has a specific vibration and energy. And when particular numbers start showing up in your daily life, like a home address, a phone number, dates, or even transactions, they can point to themes you should pay attention to. So by noticing these numerical signs, I think we can deepen our connection with the universe and understand the messages being sent to guide our magical paths. So I would like to dive into numerology more, and I think it's a great topic to have honestly as an entire podcast episode coming up. I have played around with it, but more like lightly dabbled in it. But when I do, I find patterns right away. So a strong one for me and my boys is the actual number 1. So if I take the day each of us were born on, we all reduce down to the number 1. So I was born on the 10th, 1 plus 0, right, equals 1. My older son, Taylor, was born on the 19th. 1 plus 9 equals 10. 1 plus 0 equals 1. And then Connor, my younger son, was actually born on the 1st. So the 3 of us each have a 1 as a numerical value, right, that it gets reduced down to. And this creates a really strong triangle and power of energy that is highly amplified when we are together. So in numerology, the number 1 is considered a symbol of new beginnings, individuality, leadership, and independence. It carries the vibration of creation, of action, and assertiveness. The power of 1 is often associated with, qualities like ambition, confidence, and the ability to manifest one's desires into reality. So when I think about the number 1 and the boys and I all reducing down to it, it signifies, kind of the start of a new cycle or chapter. It's the number of creation. It symbolizes fresh starts and the potential for new opportunities. The number 1 in numerology references leadership and independence. And people influenced by this number often display strong leadership qualities and pioneering, that pioneering spirit. They are self-reliant, confident, and capable of making decisions and taking initiative. The power of 1 is about standing alone and embracing one's unique identity. It represents those who are trailblazers, unafraid to stand apart from the crowd and express their true selves. It's also about ambition and drive. It really does embody the will to succeed, to overcome obstacles, and to reach one's goals through determination and hard work. Number 1 is considered a number of manifestation. It represents the ability to turn thoughts into reality, aligning with the idea that individual action and focused intention can lead to success. It happens to be a masculine number, so numerology associates certain numbers with different types of energy. The number 1 is typically seen as possessing strong, active, and assertive masculine energy. So anyways, this is definitely something on my list as far as future podcast episodes. I would like a whole entire episode about numerology. But I have fun. I definitely dabble in it. All right, third, as far as getting messages, I think the third big area is our dreams. Now, dreams are the most direct way the subconscious communicates with us. Now, if you keep dreaming of the same person, object, or situation, it really is likely a message trying to come through. So keep a dream journal if you can, next to your bed. Jot down your dreams as soon as you wake up. Over time, you'll be able to see if there's a deeper message that is trying to emerge. Another side note here, I've actually reached out to a couple people for interviews on dream work. This is another area I am personally very eager to get more clarity on and gain a stronger understanding of. As a witch, dreams are a powerful conduit for receiving messages and signs from the subconscious, from spirit guides, and the universe. All right, what are some ways we can get signs and messages from our dreams? Well, the first one is probably going to be that recurring dream or, symbol. So when the same dream or the same symbol keeps repeating over time, it's a clear sign that the universe or your subconscious is trying to send an important message. So pay attention to like recurring symbols. If you see the same object, the same animal or figure multiple times in a dream, such as, like snakes, they're going to represent transformation. The moon, indicating intuition or cycles, or even water, that emotional flow and cleansing. But there's something. Seeing the same object, animal, or figure multiple times in a dream is a message. And then similar dreams or scenarios, right? Like, so if you're frequently dreaming about being in a specific place, like a forest or an ancient temple, it could point to a past life connection or maybe a lesson your spirit guides are trying to highlight for you to address in your waking life. So the repetition, I think it's a call to action, right? Or some type of reflection. It's urging us to explore the deeper meaning of these patterns and then how they relate to our current spiritual path. So another area to pay attention to is lucid dreaming. And this is, like our prophetic dreams. Now in lucid dreams, you become aware that you are dreaming, like you can separate it out. This can be a sign that you have entered a heightened state of consciousness where magic or messages can be more directly received, right? These dreams often provide clarity and guidance. First and foremost, right, in that lucid state, we can ask questions. We can interact with spiritual beings or gain insights into our current situations, right? This is where the veil between the worlds is the thinnest. And then our prophetic dreams, right? Some dreams feel so vivid and real that they might be prophetic, showing us little glimpses of future events, of outcomes or warnings. These prophetic dreams could be messages from our higher self, right? Or the universe, giving us clues about our spiritual journey and our life path. Witches often keep a dream journal to record these experiences, right? We use them to guide our spell work, to guide our rituals, and we can even use them to provide warnings about potential challenges ahead. So the other one with our dreams, I think, is going to be probably visitations from spirit guides or even our deceased loved ones. I think they can come through in our dreams this way and can serve as a bridge, if you will, to that spirit world, allowing us to receive direct communication from our guides, our ancestors, and our loved ones, who have passed on. So some signs of visitation dreams are going to be ones that have like that sense of peace and clarity, right? Unlike our regular dreams, visitations often have a profound, calming energy. You may wake up feeling reassured or protected, that the presence in the dream often seems very real. And messages or symbols of guidance, this one, the figures might give us guidance or actually deliver a message. They can offer us symbols such as feathers and flowers or some specific items that guide us in our waking life. For instance, a deceased one might appear to remind us that they are still watching over us, or a spirit guide might offer cryptic advice for your magical practice. So visitations are definitely a powerful sign. They often are appearing when we need their wisdom, when we are at a crossroads in our own spiritual journey. So by exploring and analyzing our dreams as a witch, we can deepen our understanding of the messages coming from these spiritual realms and then use them to enhance our magical practices. So I would say those are probably the top three that I'm aware of. Again, getting some better guidance on this one is going to be helpful as far as our toolbox. But there is another area, I think in general, that I want to mention as far as signs and messages. And this one's going to be from our spirit guides, as well as our ancestors, but also deities that we work with. So this form of communication, though, it's different, in my opinion at least, from the top three that I just went through. So spirits communicate in subtle, often symbolic ways, and these signs can show up, honestly, in all areas of our life. Now, if you're feeling a presence or if you sense that something is guiding you, chances are spirits are reaching out. So one of the most common ways that spirits, give signs is going to be through synchronicity. Have you ever been thinking of a departed loved one or, a spirit guide, and then suddenly their favorite song starts playing, or you notice their name written somewhere? These are not coincidences. These are direct messages from the spirit world. Spirits use the flow of energy around us through numbers and objects and even, natural elements to get their messages across. So spirits often work, with patterns, right? For example, finding feathers on your path, hearing a particular name or phrase over and over again, or even catching a glimpse of shadows or light out of the corner of your eye. These can all be signals that a spirit is nearby wanting to connect with you. One of the most common ways spirits make their presence is known by influencing our environment. If you suddenly experience a chill or even a warm sensation in a specific area of your body, especially if you're doing ritual work or meditation, this could be a sign of spirit contact. Spirits tend to shift the energy around them, creating noticeable changes in temperature, in pressure, or even, when you get those goosebumps. Oh my goodness, that's always something. So another telltale sign is the movement or manipulation of objects. So have you ever seen something out of the corner of your eye, right? Like a book falling, a candle flickering intensely, or objects shifting slightly on your altar? Spirits, right, particularly those of loved ones, often use small disturbances in your environment to get your attention. And then, of course, we have smells, right? Oh my gosh, a sudden familiar scent that appears out of nowhere, right? Like your grandmother's perfume, or the smell of tobacco from your grandfather, or even the scent of flowers or herbs, some type of smell. It indicates that a spirit is near. Spirits use the sense of smell to trigger memories and emotions, reminding us that they are still with us. So one of the most profound ways spirits communicate is by influencing your emotions and intuition. Have you ever suddenly felt an overwhelming sense of love, of peace, or even sadness for no apparent reason? These are feelings that can often be the result of a spirit's energy touching your aura, reminding you of their presence, or trying to guide you through a difficult moment. Now, as witches, we have the power to tune into these subtle energies. Pay attention to your gut feelings. If you feel an unexplained pull towards something, a place, an action, even a decision, it might be your spirit guides pushing you in the right direction. Intuitive nudges like these are often Spirit's way of helping you navigate through life, offering guidance even when you're not fully aware of it. And then another sign, from spirits is going to be the dream realm. So spirits love to communicate through dreams because it is one of the easiest ways to reach out when our conscious mind is at rest. Dream visitations feel very different from regular dreams. They are vivid, emotionally charged, and they often leave us with a sense of peace or a message to hold on to. So when spirit comes to you in a dream, take it as a sign that they are trying to communicate something important. This is an entire podcast episode, isn't it? Right? Honestly, and I have reached out to a couple of people asking if they would join me as a guest, since I think we can all benefit from really diving deep on this subject. I'm personally wanting more guidance on dream work, on astral traveling, and any type of communication where, my mind is at rest. So hopefully that will be an episode here soon before the year end. So I do have two personal stories that I want to share. This is a great spot to insert them. One is about getting a message in, that waking state, and then the other one is about getting a message in a dream state. So I'm pulling two very specific instances for me personally. There are a bunch that I could share, but these are two good examples, I think, for today's episode. So the first one was in a waking state, and it's back when I was in my early 20s. I had just gotten home from work and jumped into some workout clothes, ready to head down to a football stadium that was really close to my apartment. I walked the stadium stairs as part of my workout routine, and I did it often. So this was just another normal night for me. But it was night. It was dark, and it was a little bit of a walk to get to. Not a bunch, but part of my exercise was getting to the actual stadium. Now, don't laugh, but back in the early 90s, it was all about listening to music on things called Walkmans. So I had my headphones on, plugged into a Walkman with a tape or CD of whatever, workout music was motivating me at the time. And I headed down. I headed down on my walk to the stadium. About halfway down the walk, I was stopped in my tracks. It was the most overwhelming feeling of urgency to stop. Stop walking. Stop moving forward. I had a dark presence come over me that something very, very bad was about to happen. Goosebumps covered my entire body as I quickly began to look around at my surroundings. Like, what was happening? A presence told me to turn around now, head back to the safety of my apartment. It was urgent and it was clear. Go home. If you don't, you will be attacked. I listened to the message. I followed the guidance of the Spirit helping me, and I turned around and I went home. Quickly, without hesitation, I acted. So another example I can pull, super personal, and I'm going to redact any names or specifically who this person is in my family, but it is an example of a dream that crossed over to reality and, somebody trying to get a message to me. So this one goes back to, 17-ish. Anyways, I was away at a boarding school. I'm saying that it was a boarding school is being super generous, but that is a topic for another day. Anyways, I was away, and it was back in the late 80s. It was a situation where I did not have a phone available to me or, access to my family much. It was, one night, like a regular night for that matter, and I went to bed around 9 p.m. I quickly fell asleep, like into a super fast, deep sleep, and I got a message. So in my dream, I was floating in darkness, and a family member was floating right by me. He was in distress. He was reaching out his arms and hand, like as far out as he could stretch and reach, screaming my name and to please hold on. He screamed, "Don't let go, Charlene, hold on." I reached out my arm as far as I could to grab his hand, but something was pulling us apart. Some force was separating us. And as I was pulled and he was pulled farther and farther away, his screams became more frantic and his cries for help more desperate. There was nothing I could do. I could not reach him. I woke up in a panic. I was drenched in sweat and found it was actually not that much later than when I had gone to bed. The night was still early. There was no doubt in my mind at that moment that something was wrong. It was too clear of a dream, too clear of a message. I jumped out of bed and ran to find a counselor, somebody to help me call my family. Now, I did find somebody, but they did not let me make the phone call. They said, "It's just a dream. Go back to bed." Now, at this quote-unquote boarding school, I did not have access to a phone line or access to my family. I was actually up in Idaho, close to the Canadian border, and my family was down in Central California. I was thousands of miles away. So, nonetheless, something came to me in the dream to let me know that my family was in trouble. I was convinced to go back to bed, which I did. The next day, the counselor came to me and pulled me aside, saying my family was on the phone and it was an emergency. I ran to the office to get on the call, which is when I was told about what happened the previous night. Someone in my family who was emotionally struggling at the time could not see relief or happiness in his future and tried to end things. Luckily, an ambulance came and he was hospitalized and saved. And this phone call to me was to tell me what was going on. Now, I asked when the specific event happened the previous night and found out it was exactly when I had the dream. I knew it happened because something crossed over in my subconscious state of mind, my dream state, and had me feel the struggle that he was going through. I know he called out to me for help, and I knew something happened when I awoke from the dream state. Now, are all my dreams as powerful? No. Can I tie each of them back to an actual event happening in real time? Some I can, more than not. So I know the power of my dream states. I know the amazing work I can do with them. Or, I don't know, I think I do. I need someone who is trained in this area, who specializes in, guidance on dream work, astral traveling, and, any type of communication where my mind is at rest. So again, hopefully that will be an episode before the year end. Because if I'm looking for answers, I am guessing you are too. Okay, now, back to our regular stuff. October is starting next week, and our veil is thinning. It is almost Samhain, and that means the time when we can be getting more signs from our ancestors and our deceased loved ones is here. And when it comes to ancestors, and our loved ones who have passed, their signs can feel deeply personal. Many times these spirits show up in comforting ways, offering reassurance that they're still watching over us. For example, coins. Those are a good one. Like pennies or dimes, something like some type of coin is often left in unusual places as messages from our ancestors. It's a subtle reminder that, that they are near and watching over us. Similarly, back to those butterflies and birds and dragonflies, Annika, they can also come and be messengers sent by your ancestors, especially when they're appearing during times of reflection or emotional need. So another way ancestors, I think, can show their presence is through our technology. Electronics maybe they're acting strange. Maybe they flicker or malfunction when a spirit is near. And this might sound spooky, right? But it is usually just a spirit saying, hey, I'm here. Now, when you recognize a sign from a spirit, take a moment to acknowledge it. This can be as simple as saying, oh, all right, hey, I see you, right? And I thank you. Lighting a candle, maybe leaving a small offering such as herbs, crystals, incense even. They can help open the lines of communication between you and the spirit world. This act of gratitude can strengthen our connection, making it easier maybe to receive messages in the future. We can also incorporate things, these signs into our spell work and our rituals. For example, if you're feeling guided by a specific spirit, use their signs like feathers or coins or scents, right, as part of your altar setup or ritual tools to enhance the magic that you're casting. When you honor their presence, you're building a relationship with the spirit realm that becomes mutually beneficial. And remember, right, your intuition is the most powerful tool you have as a witch. Trust it. If something feels like a sign, it likely is. Spirits don't always speak loud, like out loud, in that obvious way, right? Sometimes it's the quiet little nudges, the whisper of the wind, or the feeling of being watched over that carry the deepest meanings. But trust your intuition. Trust it. How do we know if we're interpreting signs correctly? You know what? You know, right? You know. Our intuition is the key. Signs will often come to us when we're in a state of openness. And trusting them takes practice, though. When you receive a sign, pause, if you can, just for a moment. How does it make you feel? Are you energized, calm, or maybe a little anxious? These emotions can be a guidepost in understanding the message behind the sign. You know what? If you're still unsure, try this simple little exercise. Light a candle, close your eyes, and take 3 deep breaths. Ask your higher self or your spirit guides for clarity on the sign. Then pay attention. Pay attention to what thoughts or feelings arise. The answer is often closer than you think, right? And practice strengthening this gift. Create your own little nice toolbox of exercises, that you can personally work on and that you can personally pull from to get better. This is a muscle of sorts, and it needs to be trained. It needs to be educated and grown. The more we practice something, the more easily it will be carried out. And then we'll be ready. We'll be ready to interact with the messages that we get from our dreams, traveling the realms, or the simple messages that are given to us in our day in and day out lives. Well, I hope that was helpful for you. This is an area I am really trying to work on more myself. There's so much deeper content to dive into, and I am really excited about upcoming episodes where we get to do just that. But for today, I'm going to move over to a poem that I did write for this episode, and of course, review the moon this week. So if you'd like to stay with me for those, I will be right back. All right, let's do the poem first, and it goes. In whispers soft the wind may blow, the subtle sign from those we know. A feather falls upon the ground, a message lost but now is found. A flicker in the candle's flame, or shadows that don't stay the same. A grandfather's pipe in the air, a spirit's touch, a loved one's care. When numbers dance and stars align, the universe reveals a sign. A bird that flies across your way brings wisdom for another day. So trust the symbols that appear. The world of spirits whispers near. In dreams, in light, in nature's call, are subtle signs, both big and small. All right, the moon this week. Well, speaking of balance and celebrating Mabon this past weekend, our moon right now, our beautiful moon, is in her last quarter phase. This is a balanced state resting on one of the main phases. So last quarter moon, our waning moon phase, this is a powerful time for reflection, release, and completion. If you are looking for some magical practices, I would do rituals for releasing or banishing negative, toxic influences, bad habits. It's a good time for divination, clarity on what needs to be cleared out or released. And then affirmations, write down what you want to let go of and symbolically release it through burning or burying. So the last quarter moon, our waning moon, it really is about making peace with the past and preparing for the new. By working with this specific lunar phase energy, we can align our magic with the natural rhythm of the moon, creating space for transformation. Well, thank you. Oh my goodness, thank you so much for tuning in today. If you have enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. As always, if you're looking for more witchy guidance, head over to my new Patreon account where I offer oracle card draws, coaching, and more to support your spiritual and business journey. Until next time, my magical witchy friends, please keep your eyes open for the signs that are all around you. I hope you have an amazing rest of your week and weekend, and I will talk with you next week. Thank you for joining me today at Witchy Work Wishes, a place to find your weekly inspiration for bringing your personal witchcraft practice into your business, work, and office. For more information and additional content, please visit me online at witchyworkwishes.com. If you want to send me a personal note, please email me at info@witchyworkwishes.com. And of course, you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook. Just search for Witchy Work Wishes.